French President Emmanuel Macron is visiting Gaza aid warehouses with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in Egypt. Macron is also visiting the hospital where wounded Palestinians from Gaza are receiving treatment in the North Sinai city of El-Arish. Both have reaffirmed their calls for a ceasefire and the release of the Israeli captives. Thousands of people gathered to welcome the leaders. They also chanted in support of Palestinians and rejected any attempts to displace them to Egyptian territory. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Hussein Haridy, who is the former Egyptian Assistant Foreign Minister. He joins us from Cairo. Thank you very much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. First of all, we saw a little bit of it there just before I introduced you, but can you just give us more of a sense of how Macron's visit is actually being viewed in Egypt? Because thousands of people have turned out to see him today.
Well, I guess this is the fourth visit by the French President Macron to Egypt ever since he came to power back in 2017. And this visit in particular was highly successful from the point of view of the way the Egyptian people received the French president when he visited 2 days ago a popular tourist destination, Khan el-Khalili in Cairo. So I believe that his visit this time comes in a very sensitive time, in the sense that we see after the resumption of military operations by the Israeli army in Gaza, that the situation is not getting better. But this visit came simultaneously with the meeting that took place yesterday at the White House between President Trump and the Israeli Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu. And I guess the joint call by President el-Sisi, President Macron, and the King of Jordan, Abdullah, yesterday, with President Trump, I guess took place in order to provide a counterweight or counterbalance to the Israeli positions vis-a-vis post-war Gaza, the present negotiations taking place in order to reach a ceasefire in Gaza.
If we can continue if we can continue talking about that call, because what sort of influence do those three leaders actually have over President Trump, especially when he's sitting there next to one of his closest allies, Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, I guess it was a very good move on the part of the three leaders. They sent a clear message about the way they look at the future. And there are several common denominators between the positions that they emphasized during their trilateral summit in Cairo and the position of the Trump administration as far as the ceasefire is concerned, as far as the release of hostages is concerned. And what's more important is how Gaza would look like once the hostilities come to an end. Yes. And from judging from the remarks by President Trump yesterday, that I followed personally for almost an hour, I guess that President Trump maybe he is open to a certain extent to the point of view by the three leaders, the French president, and as well as President Sisi and King Abdullah of Jordan.
What is France offering, though, for Gaza right now, and will that message actually be heard?
Well, President Macron has become, in the last few months, really the spokesman not of his own country, but also of the European Union and European countries when it comes to international affairs, whether we are speaking about relations between the United States and Europe, about the tariff wars, or about the situation in the Middle East. So I guess with the result of this visit, as far as the Palestinian question is concerned, I guess President Macron would be a voice to be heard, to be reckoned with, whether dealing with the Trump administrations in the days to come or within the European meetings. So and this visit and what came out of it coincided with some talk in Washington about a ceasefire As you may recall, sir, Mr. Witkoff, the American special envoy to the Middle East, has shown a limited interest in going back to the ceasefire, with the condition, of course, that more hostages will be released. Speaking of the hostages, I would like to stress one point, that the number of hostages is declining now. Out of 59 hostages, almost 50% of them are dead. And I guess this moment should be seized by Hamas and the Palestinians in order to reach an agreement, a ceasefire agreement with the Israelis, with the backing of both the United States, the American administration, and Egypt and Qatar.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. We really do appreciate them, Hussein Haridy, for us there in Cairo.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.